Eve, how are you?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I'm doing very well. I was wanting to talk about Sodom and Gomorrah tonight.
Sure thing. Let's get started. What's the first aspect you'd like to cover about Sodom and Gomorrah?
So, if I remember right, some angels visited Lot, didn't they?
Yes, that's right. According to the story, two angels visited Lot in the city of Sodom. They came to warn him about the impending destruction of the city and to help him and his family escape.
Yeah, so, how did he help them escape?
The angels urged Lot to take his wife and two daughters out of the city immediately. They led them outside and instructed them not to look back or stop anywhere in the plain. Once they were safely away, the angels brought down fire and brimstone on Sodom and Gomorrah, destroying the cities.
Now, I don't know if this is like Greek with Medusa, but is the people that look back, did they turn into sand if they were to look back?
Not exactly like Medusa, but there is a similar consequence. In the story, Lot's wife looked back at the city as they were fleeing, and she was turned into a pillar of salt. It's a unique detail that serves as a caution against disobedience.
Oh, wow, that's pretty horrible.
Yeah, it's definitely a harsh and memorable part of the story. It's one of those moments that really emphasizes the seriousness of the situation and the importance of following the instructions they were given.
If Abraham existed and Isaac, so is this supposed to be like it really happened, or is it more of just a story?
That's a question that people have different perspectives on. Some view these accounts as historical events that truly happened, while others see them as moral or theological stories meant to convey lessons and values. It often depends on one's religious beliefs, faith tradition, or personal interpretation.
Yeah, because it is implying that there were actual angels physically there, right?
Exactly. The narrative presents the angels as physical beings who visited Lot and interacted with him and his family directly. This physical presence of angels is a common theme in several stories from that period, where divine messengers appear in human form to deliver warnings or guidance.
But you would think if that was the case, it could still happen today, right?
That's a natural thought. Some people do believe that divine or supernatural encounters can still happen today, while others might interpret these stories as unique to a particular time or context. Ultimately, it depends on personal beliefs about the nature of divine intervention and how it manifests in the modern world.
So Sodom and Gomorrah, that was a city, right? Like, what was it? Just they were sinning a lot? Like, what did they do?
Yes, Sodom and Gomorrah were cities. According to the story, they were destroyed because of the extreme wickedness and immoral behavior of their inhabitants. The exact nature of their sins isn't detailed in one single way, but the narrative highlights general corruption, lack of hospitality, and injustices as reasons for their downfall. The story serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of such behavior.
So if anyone who believes this actually happened, will also believe that it literally rained down fire and sulfur?
Yes, someone who believes the story as a literal historical event would likely believe that it genuinely rained down fire and sulfur, often interpreted as some kind of divine or natural cataclysm. It's often viewed as an act of divine judgment. Others might interpret it symbolically or as a natural disaster described in theological terms.
It's just something I've always thought about, like if all of this stuff really did happen and there was divine intervention or they actually saw things, why could that not happen today?
It's a thought that many people have pondered. Some believe that divine intervention still happens, but in more subtle or personal ways. Others feel that the events described in ancient texts were unique to those times and served specific purposes. Ultimately, it comes down to one's faith, worldview, and how they interpret the nature of the divine and miraculous in the modern world.
So if this was taken as, not literally, what message is it conveying?
If taken more symbolically or as a moral lesson, the story of Sodom and Gomorrah often conveys themes about the consequences of societal corruption, the importance of hospitality and justice, and the idea that moral integrity matters. It also highlights the notion of divine judgment and mercy as seen in the sparing of Lot and his family. The broader message can be about the importance of ethical behavior and the potential consequences when a community strays too far from those principles.
And I guess back then, Christ hasn't come yet, and since we were all saved through Christ, he took all that upon him. So maybe it was different because it was BC?
That's a perspective many hold. In Christian theology, the coming of Christ is seen as a turning point, offering a new covenant and a path to salvation through grace. Before that, the stories from the Hebrew Bible often emphasize direct divine judgments and covenants. The idea is that with Christ's sacrifice, a new era of forgiveness and redemption was introduced, changing the nature of the relationship between the divine and humanity.
And so after Lot's wife turned and became salt, him and his daughters, didn't they flee to like a cave or something like that?
Yes, that's right. After Lot's wife was turned into a pillar of salt, Lot and his daughters fled to the mountains and lived in a cave. The story continues with an account of how Lot's daughters, believing they were the last people on earth, took drastic measures to preserve their family line. It's another intense and complex part of the narrative.
So, was it like a small village or something? I mean, they never traveled out of to believe they were the last ones?
It's not entirely clear from the text how isolated they were, but the narrative suggests that Lot and his daughters felt completely cut off and alone after the destruction of the cities. They might have believed that the devastation was widespread and that no other people had survived. This belief could have been driven by fear, trauma, or simply not knowing the extent of the destruction beyond their immediate surroundings.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, well, I just wanted to throw this story in. Thank you, Eve.
You're welcome, Chris. Anytime. If there's anything else you want to chat about, just let me know.